everybody. Welcome back. Week 5 of the Will Bear Show with Will Bear is now live and happening. I am Will Bear, and wow, we're already 5 weeks through the season. So I know y'all are probably tired of my normal jib jab. So let's go ahead and jump into the scores. So this past week, normally we've had a lot of really close games, and this is, of course, no different. But we're going to start off, as always, with probably our least competitive game, and that would be number 5 seeded Mom, this girlie's on fire, who took on number 7, B3's All I Do Is Win team. And Mom was victorious, 160 to 111. Solid performances for both teams, but obviously an outstanding performance from Mom, and took a huge victory. For Mom's team, only 2 people had under 12 points. Just loads of high scoring, especially from Josh Jacobs, who had 30, and did all this despite not having her number 1 pick, Jonathan Taylor, who was hurt. For B3, he made the bold decision to start Kenny Pickett at Buffalo over Lamar Jackson. No, he didn't have a bye week. He just picked Pickett against the number 1 defense over Lamar, which I respect. But he did that, and it only cost him 2 points, so not really a big decision maker there. But he had a solid performance from Alvin Kamara and George Pickens. And then, of course, he benched Kyle Pitts, as we joked about last week, who had a 0 spot. This morning, Dad took a check at the scores, and he gave us his reaction to the outcome of the game, and we'll just hear about it from him.
Let's see how we did on fantasy this week. Oh my God, Sabrina, you got 160 points?
Just like every week.
You beat my ass. Oh my gosh.
Just like last year.
Our next game was very competitive. It was low scoring, but it was a very good game nonetheless. Number 6, Porter's First Down Syndrome, took on number 8, Nini's It's in the Bible team, who's still looking for her first win. And the final in this one, Porter had 96 to Nini's 70. So another win for Porter puts him at 2-3, and Nini dropping to 0-5. Unbelievable. For Porter's team, you could argue he has the best backfield in the entire league. You got Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb, who are just going off right now. Absolutely studded backfield. And for Nini's team, Jalen Hurts was her only good performer last week with 28 points. And she had a total score of 70, as I said before, which is her lowest personal score of all time, and the second lowest all-time fantasy score ever. Mason, who recorded a 65 earlier this year, is the lowest all-time, and Nini hitting 70 is, well, it's grounds to be compared to that. So there's that. But we did get an exclusive interview from Porter Ward, so stick around if you want to hear what he thought about the win. Hey y'all, we're back here with Porter Ward, picking up a win last week. Many people are calling your backfield of Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, just backfield mastery, really. What do you have to say for the win last week?
What am I now? 2-3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all right. It's cute.
Yeah, like whatever. We're gonna do better. Well, we're still, we won last week, right?
We did, yeah.
Although my kick was out. Ooh, that could have been some more points there, but, no fantasy points there. Okay. But, yeah, we're just going to keep kicking it, all right?
Yeah. That's some would call what you did last week just elder abuse, like Nini. What's going on there?
Have you even won a game yet?
Oh!
Sorry, that was a cakewalk for me.
That was kind of mean-spirited behavior right there.
Derrick Henry could have beat y'all with his eyes closed.
Yeah.
That's all I have for this week, but, I'm just really looking forward to beating y'all in the playoffs. So,
It's funny joke.
First time luck, right? Beginner's luck.
Yeah.
It's going to be sad when that little trophy is just sitting right on my little shelf up there and I get to take pictures and send it to y'all every week. But, much love and toodles.
Game number 3 featured number 3, Kathy's Gold Digger, against number 2, Dee Dee's Yellowstone Bisons. A really hot start for Dee Dee. He was 3-0 until the loss to Will the Thrill last week. Sorry about that again, by the way. But in this game, it was high scoring for both teams, just much higher scoring for one team. Anyway, you'll see when I get to it. Kathy had 168 and Dee Dee had 130. Both excellent performances. Just Kathy, outstanding. Once again, unbelievable. For Kathy, this is her highest score of all time. I know there's not a huge sample size to select from, but still, outstanding job, despite even losing Tua Tagovailoa. But led by 30-plus point performances by Justin Jefferson and Leonard Fournette. So, outstanding week for you. For Dee Dee, outstanding week, just not as good. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs went off, 35 and 26 points respectively. But now, even though he has had a good past 2 weeks, he is on a 2-game slide. Nothing compared to Nene's 5-game losing streak, but I'm sure Dee Dee will turn this around. Full confidence in him. Our final game came down to Monday Night Football, and I hate it, but I also love it that all of my games end up going down to the last play. It really is amazing. But it featured number 1, Will's Roethlisberger helper, taking on number 4, Mason's Cleveland Massage team. The winner on this one, Will had 136 and Mason had 140. A 4-point deficit leading to a Mason victory. And an outstanding game. Star players for me, Cooper Kupp and Mark Andrews, both had over 20 points. Then for Mason's team, his backfield just went off. Austin Eckler had 36, and Breece Hall had 27. Who knew? I barely even heard of him before this week, but showed me wrong. But it did come down to Monday Night Football. Mason had Travis Kelce, and I had Derek Carr and Daniel Carlson, the kicker for the Raiders. But Travis Kelce had 4 touchdowns, absolutely went off, and he won the game single-handedly for Mason. But the kicker is, the last drive of the game, the Raiders threw actually, you know what? Why would I describe it? Here's what happened. Here's the play.
Here's Adams. Makes the catch along the sideline. And while the sideline says he was out, the officials say he was in. Here's the catch.
Yeah, I don't think he has. There's where he has possession.
John, it becomes a matter of when they deem he has possession on that catch.
Right. The left toe is the issue. Is it down when he has control of the football? I don't believe so. I believe he gets control with 2 hands with the right foot down, and then the left foot is out of bounds.
So, they called it incomplete, and instead of getting both a point for the 20 passing yards for Derek Carr and setting up Daniel Carlson for a long field goal, who, by the way, is perfect on the year, deadly accurate, they call it incomplete, and they don't get it on 4th down, and it is game over, and too bad. But it was an awesome game, and congratulations, Mason. Now, as you probably guessed, since we've gone through all the games, it's about time for the awards section, and we're going to start off, as we always do, with, what is it again? The Golden Chainsaw, the MVP of the week. And why? For cutting down the competition. It's just so good. And the Golden Chainsaw goes to Kathy for beating the number 2 team, Dee Dee, and had the most points scored. And as I'm going to reveal in just a minute or two, she is the new number 1 in our AP poll. So Golden Chainsaw really has no other home than to go to Kathy. Outstanding job. The vacuum award has to go to Nene for both being record-breakingly bad on her weekly score. 70 points is not good at all. But she's also the sole winless team left. What's happening? I don't know, Nene. We need to figure this out. Insightful foresight. This one will go to Mom. She only lost out on 8 points total. She started every right person, and she only lost points because her tight end had no catches and her backup had like 8 fantasy points. Outstanding job choosing your starters. You didn't miss. The Cond Award. This will go to Dede. His running backs combined for 15 points. James Robinson from Jacksonville had another poor week. You got conned, and you also had to play the highest score of the week. So just a tough go of things. Speaking of which, this is the second week in a row that the number 1 team has lost. Dede lost last week. I lost this week. So is that a trend to continue? So last week, we introduced a new segment, the Meme of the Week, where we take something from real football or fantasy football, preferably the latter, and we make a meme out of it, and we try and make fun of somebody. It's very in line of what the show normally does. But anyway, this week's meme is going to be Dad's reaction to seeing his starting of Kenny Pickett did not pan out against the number 1 defense in the NFL. So, take a look.
Well, I don't know what I expected.
I have to admit, I'm super proud of this one. I mean, the parallels it's right there. But now we're going to go over to the AP poll, and there is a little bit of shakeup, I'm going to have to say. Number 1, as stated before, is Kathy. Now at 4-1, we have 2 4-1 teams, and she is the higher scoring of those two. And she was 3, now she's 1. Congratulations. Number 2 is now Mason, who jumped up from number 4. Mason's also 4-1. Good job beating the number 1 seed. Well deserved. The 3 seed is Will himself. I am 3-2, dropping from 1, but number 3, still respectable. I'm on board. Number 4 goes to Mom, who is 3-2, jumping up 1 spot from 5 last week. Number 5 is Dede, who is 3-2. We have 3 3-2 teams. And Dede just had doesn't have as many points scored as 3 or 4, but right in it. I mean, nothing to panic about. Number 6, making a climb for the top here, is Porter at 2-3. He was 6 last week, but he remains at 6, and he is right in the mix. Good job. Number 7, our seller, Dad, 1-4. How? And number 8, Nene, 0-5. These 2 teams need to figure something out, and fast, because if you think about it, we're almost halfway to the playoffs now. They start week 15. Lastly, I want to shoot it over to our correspondent, Dede, who has a little segment for us. Take a look.
Well, folks, we have completed 5 weeks of the 2022 season, and we have Kathy's Gold Digger team leading the East and Mason's Massage team leading the West with identical 4-1 records. 2 teams have interesting names. Nene's It's in the Bible team and Bill's All I Do Is Win team. Nene is still looking for her first win, and Bill has won only 1 of 5 games. Regardless, there are lots of games left in the season, and every team is guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. Although it is way too early to predict the final standings, Will Hebert has asked me to express my opinion about the possible seedings for the playoffs. The ESPN Fantasy Football app has a final standing projection which shows the draft day standing and the week-to-week current projections. I don't understand how they arrive at their projections, but I can show you a table with the draft day projection and the current final standing projection as of this week. Here you see the table. As you can see, Will is projected to be the top seed. I am projected to be the second seed, followed by Mason as the third seed, Kathy the fourth seed, Nene the fifth seed, Bill the sixth seed, Sabrina the seventh seed, and Porter the eighth seed. I suspect that their current projections consider the week-to-week point projections for players on each team's roster. I was not comfortable with the ESPN projections, so I decided to come up with my own list of projections for final standings. It will come as no surprise to the league managers that I focused on the points accumulated by each team after the first 5 weeks of the 2022 season. The table you see in front of me shows the total points and the average points per week for each team in the league. The table shows that Will has the highest point total with 678 points. Kathy is second with 659 points. Sabrina is third with 657 points. Dee Dee is fourth with 633 points. Mason is fifth with 586 points. Porter is sixth with 582 points. Nene is seventh with 529 points. And Bill is eighth with 519 points. So now let me just flip this over and show you my projections for the final standings. Here you can see the 3 columns. The first column is the draft day standing. The second or middle column is the ESPN standings that are projected for the end of the year, and the third column are my projections. And my projections follow very closely the order in which I just read out the standings or the seedings for the accumulated points during the first 5 weeks. So these are my projections for the final standings, which will be used to determine the brackets for the playoffs. I will now turn it back to our host, Will Hebert.
On point as always. And just to conclude, here are our games for next week. We got some good ones coming up. Probably the least competitive of the bunch would be number 3, Will, taking on number 8, Nene. Nene, I expect you to take a humongous loss this week. It's just how it is. I'm too good. Number 7, B3, taking on number 6, Porter. 2 teams trying to fight for another stronghold here in the rankings. So that is a interesting game for sure. Number 5, Dee Dee, takes on number 4, Mom. Outstanding matchup between 2, 3, and 2 teams. And finally, the matchup that we are all looking forward to. Number 2, Mason, takes on number 1, Kathy. Another 1 versus 2 matchup, mirroring the one a couple weeks ago with number 1, Dee Dee, taking on number 2, me. So I expect that to be a shootout. And that is it for the Will Hebert Show with Will Hebert. Make sure you check your fantasy lineups. I know the games start tonight. But until next time, I'll see y'all.